It's amazing how a single improvisation can spark a firestorm of controversy, especially when the person at the center of it all is already juggling multiple scandals. Blake Lively, a name once synonymous with red carpet glamour and cheerful rom-coms, is now surrounded by allegations involving on-set misconduct, high-stakes legal battles, and even a bizarre donut shop blunder that has the internet buzzing. Some call her a hypocrite, others say she's being unfairly targeted. But one thing's for certain, every new twist in her story proves that the truth is far more complicated than anyone expected. The brewing tension. In recent months, the picture-perfect public image Blake cultivated over the years started showing cracks. Questions emerged after she filed a lawsuit against director-producer Justin Baldoni, accusing him of crossing boundaries and improvising intimate scenes without her consent. Fans who initially rushed to support her soon discovered that there might be more to the story, especially once new information about her own on-set behaviors came to light. Nothing about Blake's life used to scream controversy. She was seen as the effortlessly charming star who strolled from a beloved TV series to successful film roles, occasionally stepping back from the public eye for family life. Yet behind the scenes, tension was brewing. The rumors about a lawsuit with Baldoni sparked intense scrutiny. People began digging into her filmography, interview statements, and behind-the-scenes commentary, searching for any sign of inconsistency. It wasn't just the lawsuit itself. Fans were puzzled by how quickly the tone of the conversation changed. One moment, the focus was on Blake's claims of being uncomfortable with unscripted, overly physical moments. The next, folks were pointing fingers at her for allegedly doing something similar. It was the kind of swirling drama that fans of Hollywood gossip couldn't resist, and the internet did what it does best. It uncovered old footage, behind-the-scenes commentary, and rumors that threatened to overshadow everything else. Yet even as the tension mounted, few could have predicted that an unscripted moment in a thriller comedy flick called A Simple Favor would transform Blake's lawsuit into a much bigger issue. But the very heart of the storm was coming from an unexpected place, a single improvisation that left everyone asking whether Blake was the perpetrator of the same kind of behavior she'd accused someone else of. That surprising improvisation one movie changed the way people saw Blake Lively's polished persona. A Simple Favor. Known for its quirky storyline and comedic edge, the film also featured plenty of unexpected twists, both on screen and, as it turns out, behind the scenes. In one particular moment, Blake's character lunges at Henry Golding in a playful yet aggressive manner and grabs him in a spot that made more than a few audience members do a double take. If the scene had been fully scripted and cleared by everyone on set, it might have been written off as just another comedic beat. But soon after the film's release, rumors circulated that this surprising grab was never in the original script at all. In fact, Blake herself admitted in a Blu-ray commentary that she improvised the gesture, claiming it felt authentic for her character in that moment. Normally, actors improvising is no big deal. Some of the most iconic lines and moments in film history were ad-libbed on the spot, but the problem here is that Blake's entire lawsuit against Justin Baldoni hinges on the idea that improvising physical contact without asking first is unacceptable and can cross the line into harassment. Critics quickly pounced. If it's so wrong for Baldoni, why would it be acceptable for Blake to do the same thing to Henry Golding? Fans started dissecting the footage. Henry's face in that scene became a matter of debate. Was he genuinely comfortable, or did he look caught off guard? Online threads exploded with theories. Some insisted that Henry must have approved it beforehand, while others believed he was just being polite and going along with it to keep the production moving. It didn't help that the behind-the-scenes commentary hinted Blake thought of the move as a spur-of-the-moment addition. Some say it's harmless and comedic, others say it crosses a boundary, no different from what she accuses Baldoni of doing. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about whether Baldoni messed up, it was about whether Blake's allegations lose credibility if she engaged in similar on-set behavior. But the hypocrisy debate didn't stop there. More details emerged that cast an even harsher spotlight on the star, pushing fans to question where exactly her moral high ground came from. Allegations of hypocrisy. As word spread that Blake might have done exactly what she criticized Justin Baldoni for, social media turned into a battleground. Hashtags referencing Blake the hypocrite cropped up, and internet sleuths dug deeper into every interview, cameo, and behind-the-scenes anecdote they could find. People who had once championed her cause began voicing doubts. Supporters of Blake insisted that the A Simple Favor moment was all in good fun, and, crucially, that Henry Golding had consented off camera. They argued that comparing a comedic, agreed-upon improvisation to non-consensual boundary crossing was unfair. Meanwhile, detractors took one look at Henry's seemingly uncomfortable expression and declared Blake was no different from the co-star she was currently suing. This is where it all became murky. Consent can be complicated. On a film set, spontaneity is celebrated, except when it crosses personal boundaries. Some argued that if Henry was truly uncomfortable, he could have stopped the scene. Others pointed out that hierarchy, star power, and the desire to stay on good terms with co-stars often keep actors from voicing objections. Moreover, the hypocrisy angle gained steam thanks to Blake's public statements about what Justin Baldoni allegedly did: unscripted, intimate kisses, biting her lip without warning, and ignoring personal space. The question hammered relentlessly by critics is this: if improvised touching is categorically wrong, how does Blake justify her own on-set spontaneity, star she was currently suing? No matter which side you're on, it was clear the conversation struck a nerve. It wasn't just about the difference between comedic groping and intimate kissing. It was about Hollywood's broader culture. People are fed up with double standards, whether they favor men or women, powerful producers or top-billed actors. Yet, as critics continued hammering Blake, she found herself embroiled in another controversy that was far removed from film sets but made just as many headlines: an incident involving donuts, hairnets, and a small-town health department. The donut shop debacle. In the midst of all the chatter over a simple favor, news broke that Blake Lively took a spontaneous trip to a donut shop in Wilton, Connecticut. What should have been a lighthearted, sweet experience, actor helps a friend at a local bakery, quickly turned sour when photos and video clips surfaced online. In them, Blake's signature blonde hair hangs freely over trays of baked goods as she packages donuts for eager customers. You might think it's a harmless cameo. However, a vocal group on social media found it anything but harmless. People slammed Blake for ignoring food safety regulations. In many places, hairnets or hats are legally required for anyone handling open food. The donut shop's owners, presumably starstruck or just happy to get some free publicity, may not have considered the risk of letting an A-lister waltz into the kitchen without following standard procedures. Things escalated when users started leaving one-star reviews, claiming they'd never set foot in the shop again. Soon, local officials got wind of the situation. Wilton's health department reportedly launched an investigation into whether the donut shop violated regulations. Within days, a small moment that might have been a passing PR stunt turned into a potential crisis for the business. Some critics accused Blake of cynically trying to salvage her public image by appearing relatable. "Look at me waking up at 5 a.m. to serve the community." Others argued that the outpouring of negativity was misplaced, labeling it an overreaction from people who simply want to see Blake fail. Yet, the real question left many shaking their heads: how does a Hollywood star not realize basic food handling rules? Before long, rumors swirled that the entire donut shop fiasco might be orchestrated by those trying to discredit Blake's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. Blake's supporters insisted it was another sabotage campaign, while skeptics believed she'd brought the trouble on herself. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from questionable on-set behavior to public health compliance, two controversies that don't usually appear in the same headline. This donut shop drama might seem minor, but it fueled bigger questions about Blake's judgment and integrity. Questions that weren't going away as the lawsuit rumbled toward potential depositions involving more key players. Potential legal fallout. In the legal world, depositions are where many explosive details come to light. If Blake Lively's case against Justin Baldoni proceeds, it won't just be Blake's word against his. Lawyers on both sides could call in witnesses, possibly including co-stars like Henry Golding. Imagine the pandemonium that might unfold if Henry is asked to testify about on-set experiences, or if raw footage is subpoenaed to determine whether he gave consent for that now infamous grab. The ripple effects could be monumental for Blake's career. A negative outcome might tarnish her reputation, making studios wary of casting someone perceived as a liability. On the flip side, if the depositions reveal that Justin Baldoni behaved far worse than what's publicly known, Blake's stance could be vindicated, restoring her to sympathetic star status in the public eye. Meanwhile, the donut shop fiasco, however trivial it seems in comparison, could also surface in the broader narrative. Defense attorneys might argue that Blake's recent controversies paint a picture of someone who makes questionable decisions and then scrambles to spin them in a way that benefits her. They might even hint that the donut shop meltdown, complete with an ongoing health department investigation, shows a pattern of carelessness. For Blake, each of these controversies feels like a different puzzle piece. On its own, an improvised scene might be understandable. A donut shop slip-up could be chalked up to ignorance about local regulations. But put them all together, and you get a mosaic of questionable judgments that critics believe could undermine her claims. None of this, however, happens in a vacuum. Social media continues to fan the flames, and public perception is being molded by every new headline, tweet, and TikTok commentary. the public's reaction and online firestorm. It's no secret that the court of public opinion can be harsher than any judge. On forums, Twitter threads, and YouTube comment sections, self-proclaimed detectives share clips, freeze-frame analysis, and speculation about who's at fault. Some folks defend Blake with unwavering loyalty, praising her for speaking out against alleged improprieties on set. Others dismiss her as a hypocrite who simply got caught in her own trap. Memes mocking Blake's hairnet incident popped up overnight, some featuring comedic cartoons of a donut in a blonde wig. Meanwhile, hashtag Justice for Henry trended briefly among those who felt that if there's going to be a conversation about inappropriate improvisation, Henry Golding's comfort level shouldn't be overlooked. Certain corners of the internet proposed that Henry was too polite to say no, echoing the same arguments used in support of Blake's claims against Baldoni. At the same time, articles about possible sabotage started floating around. Conspiracy-minded fans think someone is orchestrating a smear campaign, either Justin Baldoni or some industry figure with a grudge. According to them, the donut fiasco is just too random to be a coincidence. But critics roll their eyes, arguing that Occam's razor points to a simpler explanation. Blake might just be making poor choices and reaping the consequences. All of these debates converge online, where nuance often gets lost in the noise. People are quick to rally behind a side, rarely stopping to consider that both parties could share blame. The result is a digital battlefield where rumors become facts overnight, and statements get taken out of context to fuel new waves of controversy. By now, it's clear that this saga goes far beyond a single on-set mishap or a donut shop cameo. The conclusion hinges on how all these pieces tie together, and whether there's any path to redemption for Blake Lively in the eyes of the public. Where does it all lead? In the end, Blake Lively's predicament is a case study in how quickly a superstar's image can unravel when rumor meets reality. From allegations of hypocrisy on the set of A Simple Favor to the bizarre hair and donuts health investigation, each controversy adds more fuel to a fire that shows no sign of dying out soon. If depositions move forward, the public might finally see the unfiltered truth about the improvised scene, Justin Baldoni's alleged misconduct, and the many gray areas surrounding on-set boundaries. But the resolution might not be simple. Even if the courts rule in Blake's favor, there's an entire world of internet chatter that forms its own verdict. Public perception can linger, shaped by viral headlines and heated commentary sections. Stars who've weathered scandals in the past often manage a comeback if they handle it with transparency and genuine remorse. But that path can be long and riddled with pitfalls. Whether Blake's actions were truly hypocritical or simply misunderstood depends on who you ask. At best, the controversy sparks a necessary conversation about consent, improvisation, and accountability in Hollywood. At worst, it ends up as another messy chapter in an industry that sometimes thrives on sensational drama. One thing is for sure, this is far from over. More details are bound to emerge, more rumors, more legal developments, perhaps more unexpected stunts intended to sway public sentiment. As it all unfolds, we might discover that the truth is less black and white than any of us realized. For now, the public can only watch and speculate, wondering if Blake Lively will emerge from these overlapping storms with her reputation intact. Will she be vindicated in court, or will Henry Golding's deposition and the donut fiasco push her further into the hot seat? Time will tell. In the meantime, it's worth asking ourselves, how easily can a single unscripted moment turn into a career-altering scandal? And is it possible for someone to complain about boundary crossing on one hand while crossing boundaries on the other? The answers aren't tidy, but they're definitely worth pondering long after the closing credits roll.